Back to Fox Top story from our nation's capital as the clock ticks closer to the first public hearing in the impeachment inquiry into President Trump. Our next guest was a key player in the last presidential impeachment. Republican Congressman Jim Sensenbrenner from Wisconsin helped prosecute President Bill Clinton during his Senate trial. Here's part of the congressman's opening statement back in 1999.
Failure to bring President Clinton to account for his serial lying under oath and preventing the courts from administering equal justice under law will cause a cancer to be present in our society for generations.
The U.S. Senate obviously later voted to acquit President Clinton. Congressman Jim Sensenbrenner joins us now. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Pratt.
You know, you were one of the House impeachment managers almost 21 years ago now. As you look at this scenario starting tomorrow with these public hearings, what's your sense?
Well, Adam Schiff has completely ignored any sense of fair play. He is managing leaks out of his bunker where all of these previous depositions have taken place. He's not allowed the president to be able to defend himself or even call witnesses. And I think that what you're seeing here is that we give people who are accused of serial murder or serial rape more rights than the president of the United States. Shame on Adam Schiff.
You know, when you look back, you see this as completely different, the process that happened with President Clinton and the process that's happening now.
Well, it was different with both Clinton and Nixon. There, the president was able to bring witnesses, was able to have his lawyer cross-examine his accusers, to give any evidence they wanted to members of the Judiciary Committee before they voted. This is not the case with Schiff. The Republicans asked for a bunch of witnesses. Schiff turned them all down. The Republicans asked for the participation of the president's lawyer. Schiff said no. This is kind of like the way Stalin ran his courts, and it's not something that Americans ought to be proud of.
The Democrats will argue they put out all of these transcripts after these closed-door hearings, and now is the open hearing where Republicans will be able to cross-examine these witnesses. You're saying because Republican witnesses are not allowed, that it changes the entire process?
Well, when Schiff was sitting in his bunker conducting his depositions, the Republicans really were not allowed to have free rein in answering questions. You know, they just kind of sat there as potted palms. What Schiff was doing was managing the information that came out. This was not classified, but it was held in a classified proceeding. And basically what he's doing is feeding the American people one side of the impeachment argument that the so-called resistance has been trying to do ever since Donald Trump was elected in November of 2016.
Congressman, a little aggressive to call it Stalin-esque, isn't it?
No, I don't think so. It's a star chamber proceeding. One side ends up presenting all of the information. People who are in the room can't ethically talk about it because it was a closed-door deposition. And then what Schiff does is he leaks out the information that he wants to have leak out. You know, that's not the type of transparency that the Democrats promised when they took over the House of Representatives, and it's not the type of transparency that the American people deserve when you have a group of Democrats that are trying to overturn the election of the President of the United States in 2016.
What about the substance of the charges that they're bringing and that they're setting up? The substance of the concerns about that call, the substance of, as they say, they see the quid pro quo in front of them by witnesses and what they see in that call.
Well, all of it's hearsay, number one. There's never been a fact witness that didn't actually hear the president propose a quid pro quo. The president of Ukraine, Mr. Zelensky, has said there was no pressure, there was no quid pro quo. The Ukrainian foreign minister said there was none of that. I guess this is a matter of interpretation. And of course, Adam Schiff and the people who have wanted to kick Donald Trump out of office from day one have decided that they've reached another conclusion. We don't allow hearsay evidence in court in a criminal trial, and the American people shouldn't allow hearsay evidence, which is somebody heard somebody saying somebody and somebody else and somebody else and all of that. So
well,
you got to look at the facts.
Yeah, we'll see all this in public this week, starting tomorrow. I want to end with this. You've chosen to stop at the end of this term, to resign. And I'm wondering, with all of the Republicans making that choice, if that sends a signal. What's your take? You're now more than 20 House Republicans who are stepping down.
Well, when I announced my retirement, people said I was fed up with Trump. That's not the case. I support him. I will support his reelection. The fact is I've been in Congress for 42 years, the state legislature 10 years before that. After 52 years of commuting between my home in Wisconsin and a state or federal capital, I thought it was time to put my feet up and maybe write a book.
Wow, we'll look for that. We appreciate your time. Almost 21 years from the closing argument you made on the Senate floor and the impeachment of President Clinton. Congressman Sensenbrenner, thank you.
Thank you, Brett.